Administration worked closely with members of both parties to sign the First Step Act into law. Big deal.
I'm humbled, I'm thankful, I'm grateful.
It doesn't give them all they wanted or all that I want, but that's the nature of a bipartisan compromise.
We will strive for bipartisanship. We believe that we have a responsibility to seek common ground.
Kavanaugh vote begs the question, are we just in a more polarized political landscape? According to a poll.
Do you consider yourself closer to the Republican Party or the Democratic Party?
I consider myself in the middle. I like some of the values of the Republicans. I like some of the values of the Democrats.
Republican.
In the middle, but I do tend to lean towards the Democratic side.
I'd have to say Republican.
The Democratic Party.
Kind of just in the middle, independent, because I agree with certain things on the Democratic side and Republican side as well.
What can you tell me about bipartisanship?
I know bipartisanship is when the Democratic and Republican parties work together on issues and policies.
Democrats and Republicans working to get stuff passed.
Bipartisanship is where both parties come together to find common grounds in certain policies and situations.
Two different groups in a collective government thing.
Two parties come together on a common ground through compromise to accomplish a goal.
There's no Republicans or Democrats. It's more of unifying the nation.
So as a Republican, what do you consider to be the biggest issue with the Republican Party?
I'd have to say the inability to agree with Democrats and listen to their views in any way.
I think really that Trump gives us a bad reputation with all the drama and stuff that's been happening these past 4 years.
Some of their policies make it harder for marginalized groups to have equal opportunities in this country.
For the Democratic Party, an issue I see with them is that they don't come together as a party and that they're too sensitive.
Have just a wide range of opinions throughout the Democratic Party.
I feel like everyone I know that is Republican as well is very stuck in their own ways and not really willing to listen to change.
A big issue I see in the Republican Party is that Trump's given a stereotype of being racist and extreme.
And have you or anyone you know been affected by the criminal justice system?
Last year, my friend, whose name I won't say, got kicked out of school. They categorized him as a terrorist for his ethnicity.
The closest I've ever encountered the justice system is because my uncle's a cop.
I know a few people that have been to jail, but I don't really want to talk about that.
No.
Yeah, one of my friends violated his probation and he did 4 months in the county jail and then he was put in a halfway house and he's still on probation.
Do you consider the U.S. criminal justice system to be just or unjust, and why?
Pretty unjust, just because there are a lot of different factors that come into play.
I think it's unjust because there's a lot of brutality in the criminal justice system, in jails.
Unjust. I feel like there's a lot of people that are wrongfully accused and not a lot of evidence for some people. I don't think death row is a right thing, and the justice system just isn't fair in hearing out a full trial.
If someone is a minority, they might have a greater chance of being given a longer sentence.
They like to say that you're innocent until proven guilty, but I think that that's not always true in most cases.
Just because many people are locked up for non-violent crimes.
The percentage of people who come out of jail and they don't know how to start their lives over because they were never given the tools to while in jail, I think it's just too high and that's unfair.
Khalif Browder was put into Rikers Island for 2 years for stealing a backpack that he didn't steal, and then he later on committed suicide, and I feel like that wasn't fair. You do a violent crime, you should be put in jail, but people are put in there, even if they're not guilty, and then they're just stuck in there for years until their trial comes.
What could be done to improve bipartisanship in our nation's government?
Unfortunately, I think it's going to have to take something really bad to happen in our country for us to be able to come together.
A big problem with bipartisanship is just getting people to realize that compromise is necessary.
I'm really not sure.
As a nation, we're too focused on labels between Democrats and Republicans, and if we worry more about the issues themselves, bipartisanship would be easier.
The independent party or other parties might actually help to provide some outside insight that doesn't necessarily overpower the other people in the room.
What could be done to improve the criminal justice system in the United States?
It needs an overhaul from top to bottom, how we handle laws, how we make laws, how justice is served.
I would say training, but everyone has unconscious bias, so that would be hard to be able to change that.
Non-violent criminals should only have a year in jail or just be fined.
Not more education, but maybe potential better public lawyers and free lawyers for the state. That could be a good thing in the justice system for people that can't afford the proper representation.
Dealing with culture, color, race, all these things, I believe, affect our justice systems in negative ways. One person can do one crime, and because of color, they could be charged different than the other person of another color.
I think a lot of things about it have to change because obviously the way it's working now isn't that efficient. Change would probably have to start from the top and from all the people who implement all the things that go on with the criminal justice system.
I feel like they can improve it with pushing the rehabilitation for the prisoners or the people in prisons and jails. You're just sitting in a cell for days and years instead of trying to better them so when they do get out, if they do get out, they can get back into society without a problem.
We see so many injustices within our justice system that there needs to be an overhaul. There needs to be some more boundaries. There need to be more fairness applied to our justice system.
And do you think America is headed in a positive or negative direction in terms of bipartisanship and the criminal justice system?
We're going in a more positive direction because people are talking about it more, but as in terms of the people who are actually in charge, I think we're going in a negative direction because they're not really doing much to change or fix all the problems.
I guess negative, but also positive in the long run.
A positive direction because the First Step Act we just passed had both parties working together to find solutions.
I think they're both headed in a negative direction because for the past 4 years or this term, they haven't been able to agree on much and find common ground. Their prisons are becoming too populated and they're not focusing on rehabilitating them. That's very important so that they can get back into society and succeed or change instead of committing crimes and hurting others.